During Clint Eastwood's visit, he chose to take a seat in her designated area. She was completely unaware that her life was on the verge of a dramatic transformation. Mia made a final tweak to her apron's placement. Catching sight of the time displayed on the diner's wall clock, the clock was approaching 7 in the evening, the period typically marked by the end of the evening meal's busiest hours, easing into a more relaxed rhythm as her workday concluded for many. The modest diner, discreetly situated away from the main road, was merely a brief respite stop for nourishment before resuming their travels for Mia. It was her sole source of support. By the age of 28, she skillfully juggled demanding work schedules. As she navigated motherhood with her 6-year-old son, Jordan, every single piece of advice and each compensation disbursement made an effort to maintain their humble dwelling, and funding the expansion of Jordan's inventory of educational materials, she flowed effortlessly between each dining table. Her expression, radiating warmth and kindness, a barrier shielding her from the all-consuming fatigue those who frequented the establishment were familiar with her narrative, or at least fragments of it. On occasion, some individuals would discreetly contribute an additional amount of money when financially feasible. However, Mia didn't seek out expressions of pity. She discovered from a young age that justice wasn't always prevalent in the world. Her path forward was the sole option available. A resonant clang echoed as the door swung open. Catching Mia's gaze, she looked up, anticipating the arrival of another exhausted wanderer. A man then entered, possessing a serene assurance which created a sense of oppressiveness in the air. He opted for a plain button-down shirt and a pair of denim jeans. His countenance, etched by time, was mostly concealed beneath a downward-turned hat. A brief pause ensued before his gaze shifted toward her. She had his identity firmly established in her mind. The legendary Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood. She gasped involuntarily. She wasn't inclined to shower famous people with excessive admiration. It was simply not feasible for her, given her constraints on both time and energy. However, this situation was unique. Clint Eastwood held a legendary status. An individual whom her deceased father frequently discussed during their shared evenings of classic Western films, for a fleeting instant glimpses of those past experiences danced through her thoughts. However, she was pressed for time and couldn't afford to linger. Clint took a seat in a secluded booth. It was Mia's responsibility to attend to him now. However, this encounter transcended the ordinary customer interaction, and there was a stillness about him. Mia's heart raced, prompting her to swiftly seize her notepad and pen. Inhale deeply before stepping up to the booth. As her proximity increased, she began to discern the finer points. His hands, though bearing the marks of time, remained firm and sure. Situated upon the tabletop, his gaze, intense and unwavering, was revealed from beneath the shadow of his hat. It appeared to possess all-encompassing awareness, while remaining remarkably enigmatic. He glanced upward when she came to a halt next to him. His face held a serene, almost impenetrable composure. "Hello," she started as the evening descended. Her voice exhibited more composure than anticipated. "How can I assist you in getting started?" He swiftly perused a menu before putting it down. Simply a caffeine fix and a hamburger. Pink with no onions. Effortlessly, Mia recorded it. However, she was unable to dismiss the subtle shaking of her hand. Upon her departure, Clint's unexpected call brought her bustling evening to a halt. His words caught her off guard, her gaze shifting back to him in astonishment. The majority of customers opted to skip casual conversation. "Except for those who frequented the establishment, not terrible," she responded. "A subtle smile keeps me alert." He gave a slight nod, his features relaxing a touch. "Your progress is looking strong. Maintaining a presence in an environment like this proves challenging." Her eyes fluttered, uncertain what to say. Was he expressing admiration for her in the style of Clint Eastwood? A figure she'd solely encountered on the silver screen was observing her dedication to her tasks. She offered a courteous grin. Prior to stepping up to the counter and placing his request, however, her thoughts were consumed by a torrent of inquiries. What was his reason for being in this small roadside eatery? He had the financial means to dine at the most exclusive establishments throughout California. He found himself, nonetheless, casually drinking water from a cracked glass, patiently anticipating a burger, much like any other journeyer. Upon completion of the order, Mia transported the plate and steaming beverage to her designated seating area. She placed them with gentle consideration. He offered a fleeting, approving look. He offered a succinct thank you. "My pleasure," she responded. Aiming for a relaxed tone, however, a sense of inevitability washed over her in that instant. This everyday encounter possessed a unique quality. As she transitioned to attend to other diners, she observed his leisurely approach to the meal. He found himself lost in thought, seemingly absorbed in contemplation. He would take the occasional sip of his coffee. Yet there was a sense that his presence extended beyond mere nourishment. There was an aura surrounding him, remained a persistent thought. At the edge of her awareness, the sensation lingered, refusing to dissipate. This evening held an extraordinary distinction. Mia stayed occupied by continuously topping up coffee cups, resetting tables, and receiving fresh requests. Nevertheless, her gaze was irresistibly drawn to Clint's table. On occasion, he would savor his meals with deliberate slowness, virtually systematically, with an air of boundless leisure. At times their gazes locked, and he acknowledged her with a courteous inclination of his head, a quiet recognition that sent a shiver through her insides. Upon completing his dinner, Clint indicated for her to approach with subtle hand motion. Mia, having cleaned her hands on her apron, made her way over. She made a conscious effort to maintain a neutral facial expression. "Is everything okay?" she inquired. Her voice remained calm and unwavering. "Absolutely flawless," he remarked, a subtle smile gracing his lips. That burger truly stood out as exceptional. It's been ages since a soft, mirthful sound escaped her lips. The unexpected praise left her stunned. "I'll be sure to inform the chef. He'll be pleased to know that." For a fleeting instant, Clint remained silent. His gaze held hers, and for a moment they were enveloped in a shared stillness. He seemed to be intensely observing her, without passing any judgment, yet with an inquisitiveness that left her feeling vulnerable. "Strangely observed, you radiate a positive vibe," he concluded at last. "Your presence evokes memories of someone from my past." Mia's eyes widened, uncertain of what to say. Was this intended as praise, or merely a recollection? Her discernment was limited. "You're welcome." She accomplished it. A blush creeping onto her face. "My focus is simply on making it from one day to the next, much like everyone else." He gave a slight inclination of his head, shimmering with an elusive quality she couldn't define. "Isn't that the key, then?" Managing to make it past her before she had a chance to reply, he retrieved a handful of banknotes from his pocket. He deposited them upon the tabletop, accompanied by a creased sheet of paper. "You can have the rest," he stated. "Take a moment to read this when you have the chance." Mia's gaze remained fixed on the note, her pulse quickening with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. She expressed her gratitude in a gentle whisper. It's uncertain if his ears registered her words. He made his way to the doorway. Its accompanying bell chimed as he departed, and suddenly he disappeared. For a brief spell, she remained motionless, captivated by the booth. Her gaze lingered on the note, as though it held a dangerous heat. What conceivable words could have emerged from his pen? And what motivated a strong desire for her to read it? However, those inquiries would need to be postponed. More tables awaited service. Mia always saw tasks through to completion, though her thoughts were a whirlwind of eager expectancy. By the point Mia had finished organizing Clint's workspace, the clatter of the diner had subsided. The final patrons of the evening, they were enjoying their cups of coffee or engaging in hushed conversation, a constant, Low thrum from the jukebox resonated throughout the space. Her hand shook as she carefully lifted the crumpled note. Discreetly tucking it away in her apron's pocket upon completion of her table cleaning task, the source of her unease remained unclear to her. It was nothing more than a brief message. Upon completion of her work hours, Mia quietly entered the rear room to gather her belongings. Her insatiable desire to know overwhelmed her, and she retrieved the document, deftly unfurling it. Her gaze swept across the initial sentences, and she gasped involuntarily, "Hey, Mia, our acquaintance is still quite limited. However, during my brief stay here, I've witnessed an uncommon display of genuine strength. Observing your skillful handling of this establishment with elegance, despite facing duress, serves as a testament to the abundance of fortitude present among the unsung champions of our time. You evoke memories of someone I hold very close to my heart, an individual who instilled in me the significance of diligence and compassion. I'm unfamiliar with your past experiences, however. Your gaze reveals it to me. You've borne a heavier weight than most. For this reason, I'm motivated to take action." Unconditional. As Mia delved deeper into the text, her hands trembled with increasing intensity. "I prepared a little something for your use. No matter your personal preference or reason, whether it's concerning your offspring, your forthcoming destiny, or a brief respite, may it offer you a sense of tranquility. Individuals with your qualities should not remain unnoticed, and your presence is evident to me enclosed within the note." A check was discreetly tucked. Mia was stunned by the magnitude of what she saw. $10,000 caused her legs to give way. She abruptly lowered herself onto the bench situated in the rear room. Her cheeks were wet with flowing sorrow. It wasn't solely about the financial aspect, however. That experience fundamentally altered my life. It was a recognition expressed in the words. The sensation of encountering an individual of such remarkable achievement and enduring fame, Clint Eastwood, had made it a point to acknowledge her presence, to cherish for an individual frequently experiencing a sense of being unnoticed in the world. The intensity was suffocating. Yet despite her efforts to comprehend it all, a single query lingered: the reason for her. Now, what course of action would she take with this unforeseen present? Mia spent what seemed like an eternity in the secluded back room. Her thoughts were a tempest of feelings. Holding the check, she couldn't quite believe it was real. Akin to a fantastical vision, her mind raced with thoughts of outstanding payments. Positioned upon her kitchen countertop, the pre-owned athletic shoes belonging to her child for several months, Jordan had donned, and the ever-dripping tap in their small dwelling that financial constraints prevented her from repairing. This financial windfall has a potential to make a significant difference. However, extending beyond mere financial assistance, Clint's statements continued to resonate within her thoughts. "You evoke memories of someone I hold very close to my heart." What motivated that individual, and what factors shaped Clint Eastwood? Everyone perceived something unique in her. It transcended mere financial gain or the simple message. His gaze held a particular intensity when it rested upon her, with a degree of reverence and acknowledgement, a sensation she hadn't experienced for an extended period. Composing herself, Mia brushed away her tears and inhaled deeply. The weight of the secret was too heavy for her to bear alone. Therefore, she reached out to her closest confidant, Tasha, who had been her steadfast support during numerous hardships in a short span of time. Tasha arrived at the diner, positioned opposite Mia in an unoccupied booth. "Hold on, hold on," Tasha interjected. "Hold on." As Mia extended the note, she raised her hands in acceptance. "You're saying Clint Eastwood personally entrusted this to you?" Mia's gaze, still red-rimmed from recent tears, offered a slight inclination of her head. "It's baffling to me that I just sat there, doing nothing out of the ordinary." Tasha absorbed the message written on the note without vocalizing its words. Her gaze grew increasingly expansive as she absorbed each utterance. Upon reaching the checkout counter, she emitted a soft, breathy whistle. "Young lady, this is utterly unbelievable. What are the implications of this for both you and Jordan? Mia's statement indicated her words were soft, scarcely audible, however. It lacks a sense of authenticity. What could possibly motivate someone of his stature to be interested in someone like me? Across the tabletop, Tasha extended her hand to clasp Mia's. Due to a sighting of you, Mia, he perceived the same truth that has been evident to me this whole time. Your work ethic surpasses that of everyone I'm acquainted with. May you always emerge from life's challenges unbroken. Individuals observe that particular type of fortitude. Mia's gaze was fixed on the check in her hand. Her heart brimmed with a profound sense of thankfulness, yet accompanied by uncertainty. Is it even possible for me to be worthy of this? Could there be a misunderstanding here? Tasha stated, without any room for doubt, that it wasn't a mistake. You've earned it. The real inquiry is what's your plan for utilizing it? However, that remained the central inquiry. Didn't it feel that way? And despite Mia's strong desire to rejoice the significance of this unforeseen present pressed heavily upon her, or the burdens it entailed that evening, Mia found herself seated at her kitchen's dining table. Well past Jordan's bedtime, the note, along with a check, were presented before her. The residence, compact in size, was enveloped in stillness, except for the rare groan of aging plumbing the light. Hanging above the table cast a weak, unsteady glow. Her mind buzzed with a multitude of ideas. This financial assistance could cover their outstanding rental payments, substitute the faulty vehicle she relied upon, and provide Jordan with chances. She was once a mere aspiration, however. The potential was undeniably thrilling. Her fear was also heightened by them. She retrieved the note once more, revisiting Clint's writing for the 10th occasion. May it offer you a sense of tranquility. You, with your unique qualities, should be acknowledged and recognized. And your presence is evident to me. Her response was more profound than she had anticipated. For how long had she battled to maintain her stability? Pulling 2 consecutive workdays, omitting food portions to ensure Jordan had sufficient sustenance, she'd strained her limits to the point of utter weariness. The number of times she'd experienced it was beyond recall. Throughout it all, she'd been utterly unnoticed, as if the world held no concern for her success or failure. However, Clint Eastwood had already become acquainted with her. He'd witnessed her fight, her unwavering resolve, her strength in the face of adversity. At that precise instant, she understood that the issue transcended mere financial considerations. It hinged on faith. That she deserved a higher standard of life. Mia contemplated her relationship with her dad, who had consistently supported her unconditionally prior to his death. He would often remark, "Stay strong, young one, and don't let life's challenges crush your spirit. A spark of passion has ignited within you, something you haven't felt in ages." A spark of that fiery feeling ignited within her once more. She grabbed a notepad and hastily jotted down her thoughts. Possibilities that opened up with the newfound wealth that would engender enduring transformation. Perhaps it was time for her to finally enroll in an accounting course. A lifelong ambition she had cherished, however, lacked both the opportunity and the means to follow through on. Perhaps establishing a modest savings plan for Jordan's higher education would be a suitable option, offering him the opportunity for a more promising tomorrow. However, a single idea persisted, more insistent than all the others. Acts of reciprocal kindness. Clint's actions had a profound impact on her destiny, and it was impossible for her to disregard the thought of reciprocating for another person. Nevertheless, a sense of doubt persisted. The path forward seemed daunting. However, after a significant period, a flicker of optimism ignited within Mia. The first rays of dawn illuminated the room from the window, with Mia positioned in the kitchen's heart, enjoying a coffee beverage and observing Jordan's imaginative play with his toy soldiers upon the faded rug. The check and its accompanying note remained undisturbed on the tabletop, now carefully arranged following a night of contemplative restlessness. Her choice was final. Initially, she reached out to Tasha, who responded promptly, suggested taking care of Jordan during the afternoon hours. Mia, a name that resonates with elegance and grace. She indicated a requirement for a period of time to organize her affairs. Tasha remained silent, refraining from any inquiries. She simply stated that you should take care of whatever you have to handle. Young woman, I have you now. Jordan was comfortably residing at Tasha's abode. Mia's journey to the bank was accompanied by the noticeable weight of a check within her handbag. Its existence was so extraordinary it bordered on the unbelievable. A smiling young woman staffed the teller's counter. She expressed surprise at the sight of the sum. "Now, that's a substantial sum," the teller remarked. Her voice was courteous, yet laced with a hint of inquisitive interest. Mia gave a slight smile in agreement. "It's a present." The teller refrained from pursuing the matter further. Mia experienced a subtle sense of ease. Upon confirmation of the payment, a wave of unusual feelings washed over her. Joyful ease accompanied by a weight of obligation that felt almost unbearable. This financial support was not solely intended for her benefit. It presented an opportunity for her to reshape her narrative and work towards improving Jordan's circumstances. Upon exiting the banking institution, Mia traveled to a nearby community college. For a long time, she had traversed the area surrounding its college grounds, curious about the sensation of being present in a classroom setting. Another opportunity for learning, for her growth. She entered within. Her fingers shook involuntarily. As she neared the registration counter, a woman with a gentle countenance welcomed her and inquired about ways to offer assistance. Mia expressed her desire to register. Her voice remained calm and unwavering, even though a wave of anxiety washed over her. With a friendly grin, she radiated warmth in the accounting office. "You've arrived at the perfect spot. Ready to begin?" While Mia completed the necessary forms, a newfound clarity of purpose washed over her, something she hadn't experienced in a long time. It had transcended her personal sphere. The focus was on demonstrating to Jordan it's always a possibility to pursue your aspirations, no matter the time, regardless of how improbable their nature appears. However, as Mia exited the admissions building, a fresh idea dawned on her. Perhaps this is merely a starting point. Perhaps Clint's action held a deeper meaning than a simple present, yet a catalyst for igniting a far greater fire. Time stretched, progressing from weeks to months. Mia's life underwent a transformation, but it was subtle, lacking in revolutionary impact. She juggled her work schedule at the restaurant, offering evening courses at the local community college. Though the process proved challenging, her step now held a resolute purpose. Jordan also observed. He'd boast to his companions, "My mother is pursuing higher education." A smile inevitably graced Mia's face whenever she encountered that particular sound. However, Mia's desire extended beyond her own personal transformation. Motivated by Clint's action, her journey commenced. Designating a specific amount for a modest reserve to lend a hand to her neighbors regardless of its current state of difficulty, solo parents' grocery requirements, or a learner facing financial barriers to textbook access, Mia entered softly, returning something. Along the lines Clint's message had inspired her to one night, while Mia was engrossed in her accounting book, flipping through its pages. At the kitchen's countertop, Jordan fidgeted with the fabric of her sleeve. He inquired. Mother's gaze, large and brown, held a spark of inquisitiveness. "Do you believe we'll ever see that gentleman return to the eatery?" Mia's train of thought was abruptly halted, surprising her. Could we ever witness Clint Eastwood's comeback? It remained a mystery to her. The influence he had on her existence would forever remain with her. Perhaps, she murmured gently, tousling Jordan's locks. "Though perhaps he won't, he'll forever remain an integral part of our narrative." That, in essence, was a reality. Mia was brought back to a memory by Clint's action, on the strength of compassion, of truly perceiving an individual's essence and providing support when burden seemed overwhelming. It had rekindled her inner strength and confidence. Within life's potential and the significance of reciprocal generosity, with Mia shutting her textbook and settled in for the night's rest. A profound tranquility washed over her, a feeling she hadn't experienced for years. Her adventure had only just begun. However, this time, her existence transcended mere survival. She was progressing steadily, with each small achievement. Therefore, on your subsequent encounter, an unfamiliar face appeared in her designated area of the restaurant. Mia welcomed them with a friendly and elegant demeanor, recognizing that even minor exchanges can sometimes have a significant impact, has a potential to profoundly alter a life trajectory. Every generous gesture, regardless of its size, holds a capacity to generate widespread effects extending far past our limited vision. If this narrative resonated with you, remember to hit that subscribe button and disseminate it to another individual. Everyone could benefit from a dose of inspiration right now.